Good morning everyone, good morning. Welcome back to London and welcome back to another video. Today a Porsche video, and what are we going to do? We're going to do the top 5 reasons why I miss my 911 Type 997. Why do I miss my 911? Because I'm not with it at the moment. As you know, I've relocated to Bahrain. Even though that's London out there, I'm in London at the moment. I'll show you a picture of it shortly. I'm in London, car's in Sydney, I live in Bahrain. Yeah, so since my car is not here with me in London and I don't have a Porsche in Bahrain, not yet anyway, I'm really missing the 911. Okay, so this video today, simply the top 5 reasons, 5, not 10, 5, the top 5 reasons why I miss my 911. Being away from it makes you think about what you really enjoy about owning a Porsche. So, number 5. Purely number 5 is a really simple one, and number 5 is I really miss cleaning it. Cleaning your, I guess cleaning any car, but cleaning the 911, you get to, one, appreciate the shape, you get to appreciate the lines, you get to appreciate the Porsche DNA, and it's somewhat fulfilling, especially when you've been on a really long drive. If you've been on the twisties, on the mountain roads, you come back, you know, there's the black on the car, there's the dirt, and then you wash it. You know, I always let it cool down a bit first, but then you go downstairs, you go to your car wash, you go outside to your garage, you give it a detail, you give it a wash, even if it's a quick wash. And there's something I find really satisfying about that. And it's one of the things I miss. And I also find it very relaxing. With our stressful lives, with our work lives, and our busy lifestyles that we have, I find it something where it just clears my head. And it's a good feeling. And I really miss that. I miss not just going down, taking it for a drive, coming back, cleaning it. That's number 5. Okay, so number 4. Number 4, it seems so simple and it seems like a really weird thing, and I guess this one I really appreciate when I've been traveling and I come back to Sydney, more so now I guess because, you know, we're not in Sydney hardly at all, but it's getting into the car, whether you've been away for a long time, whether you come down to the car after 2 days in your garage or go into your garage, and just starting the 997. It's just that simple process of unlocking your car. If it's got the cover on it, taking the cover off, putting the key in the ignition and starting it, and that feeling, you know what I mean? Hearing the flat 6 come to life. With mine, hearing the exhaust, the sound of the exhaust when it's idling. And then, you know, the other thing I really miss is starting it and then driving off. And then, you know, for those X amount of miles or kilometers that you have to do, that you have to get everything up to temperature. And it's that point, and I think we all know that point, it's that point when you're looking at your dials and everything is right and you think, okay, off ramp, long stretch, twisty bit, and then you just floor it. And then it's just that feeling where the car just comes to life. It's like you've given it its time, you know, you've nurtured it in that startup phase. And it's that's number 4, and I miss it. It's a great thing. I'm sure it happens with other, you know, sports cars as well, but with the Porsche, it's just really special. So number 4, I miss that starting up, getting everything to temperature, and waiting for that moment where you can unleash the sound of the 911. So I guess that takes me to number 3. We cannot avoid the thing that we miss when you're away from your 911, from your Porsche, from the Type 997 in my case, is the sound. When I first bought the car, I thought the sound was fantastic. I remember picking it up from the dealer and driving away from the Scuderia Graziani in Sydney where I bought it from, and driving off, being so careful and so worried. It's my first Porsche. We're driving back, Natasha's with me, and we're driving back to the apartment, to the garage, which is not that far away from the dealer. And, you know, being so nervous, you know, but then also noticing the sound, the difference in the sound from my Audi beforehand, which, you know, is turbo, whatever it was. But just noticing the sound. And even at that stage, it wasn't that loud because, as you know, my car didn't come standard with a sports exhaust. It just had the standard Carrera 911 exhaust, which when I first heard it, I thought it was good, you know, until I started talking to my friend and started listening to his GT3, and I know that's a different thing, and then started looking at what I did next, and which is one of the best mods I ever did, was the Fister Sports exhaust. Darren Fister does a great mod for lots of 911s, for the 997. As a lot of you will know, I'll put the video here. It's one of my most popular videos, I think. When I fitted the Fister Sports exhaust and I had it sent to Auto House in Sydney, they fitted it for me. Even my friend James at Auto Amateur, he did the one on his 997 before he sold it. Watch James's expression here, and you realize what a simple mod that is, and it's one of the best mods, and that's the sound of the 911. And even though, you know, you have a mod, you have the sports exhaust, you wouldn't get that sound out of a normal car. It's the flat six, it's the engine, it's the history, it's everything, and that sound is just amazing. And when you're, you know, that drive that I did when I was back in Sydney, the long drive with my friend, this drive, I keep linking these, I hope I remember to link them. Even that drive, like when you're in the twisties, there's not many cars around, you have your window down a bit and you just hear it, and it's just such a great sound. And the sound is accentuated by the Fister Sports exhaust. And primarily the Fister Sports exhaust, as a lot of you will know, is literally like the Porsche Sports exhaust, the factory exhaust, but it's open all the time, so it's not switchable. It's pretty much the same, I will say, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if Darren's gonna watch this, but correct me if I'm wrong, it's pretty much a Porsche Sports exhaust, but not switchable. But that's the thing I miss about the 911. The other thing, which comes up to after starting it, is the sound. The sound of the Porsche is just, being in it and hearing that is just fantastic. Even when I'm in London, I'm walking and I can hear one come by. 996 went past me the other day, standard 996, and I thought, man, it looks so good. I miss it. That was number 3. Okay, so number two, I guess, is, I'll just divert for a second, but this is number 2 and it's related to number 2. The reason why I do these YouTube videos, and a lot of you know this already, and I haven't done one on Porsche for a while, and sometimes I feel weird that I sit here and I talk and I don't have the car. You know, I'll add some car footage in here and I'll put some footage in here for you guys, you know, so it's not just me on the camera, but I'm always conscious of the fact that it might be a little bit boring to watch this video. So I try to, it's on my head when I'm trying to do videos. The last month or so, it's been really crazy, so I haven't made them. But what I miss about the 911, what I miss about being away from the 911, from the 997, is I miss the community. And I have the community on YouTube, and I think that's, I think lately I haven't been talking to you guys enough, and I think I'm gonna do that more, because I don't know, I don't want to become boring, and I'm really conscious of doing these videos, because I did these videos because I wanted to share it with other people on the same journey, and that was part of me. You know, that's my Porsche story, and if you watch my very first video, Trying to Be Sensible, you know, you'll see that that is my Porsche story from the beginning. And I try not to make these videos as that polished. You know, I know how to do basic editing, I know how to do that. You know, usually in my normal job, I get other people to do the content, I get other people to do the, you know, the finesse of making content. So I try to keep it quite raw. I like it that way. I know I get criticized before from other people. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Number 2 is I miss the community. And if I'm talking about in Australia, I miss the community as in I miss going to the Auto House Hamilton's Cars and Coffee. I miss going on their drives. I'm a member of the Porsche Club in New South Wales. I almost joined the Porsche Club of Great Britain here, and I probably should have, but I felt a bit weird joining it without a Porsche. They let you join it, but I didn't. So I miss the events. I miss that community. I miss not looking at all these 911s at these events. I miss, you know, talking to people about their cars. I mean, I remember one of the Porsche events I went to when I was in Sydney. It was when I just had my wheels done, and so many people came up to me and said, "Matt, I really like your wheels. Where did you get your wheels done?" And just sharing that information and sharing someone else. And then someone at that event also came up to me and said, "Oh, I saw your video on the Fister Sports exhaust." And this was a year or 2 years ago. You know what I mean? And it was like, I'd only just been on YouTube for a short while, and someone had actually seen the video, and it's kind of weird. but it's like, it's glad that you connect with people, and I like that. And I miss the events. That's number 2. I have YouTube, I have you guys, but I do miss that physical interaction with the car in Sydney with all these car meets. And like, I'll call this number 1, but really, I didn't want to order these. I call it the top 5. I wasn't going to order them. I tried to order them in the proper order, but I'm going to call this number 1. And number 1 is simply driving the 997, driving P997. You know what? Every time I go out for a drive, it takes me back. And it takes me back to, and this could be a bit boring, but it takes me back to like Sundays and Sunday afternoons as a kid. It takes me back to being when I lived in a country, a reasonable sort of coastal country town in New South Wales in Australia. And bear with me. And I used to ride my bike. I used to ride my bike a lot. It was very boring there. There was not much to do. And I'm talking young here. I'm talking, 11 or 12. And I used to ride my bike to the park near where we lived. And I used to sit in that park on my bike and watch at the time was the Pacific Highway in Australia, which used to go through the town that we lived in. And on a Sunday, it was always really interesting because on a Sunday, people used to go to the coast, I guess, from Sydney, and they used to drive back. So every now and again, I'd see a Ferrari or a Porsche, even a Mercedes-Benz, even a BMW, old BMW at the time. Old BMW now, but new BMW at the time. So it was like my first, this country town, people didn't have really nice cars. It was Holdens and Fords, really. Holdens, Fords, and that's probably about it, and Toyotas. So seeing this was actually like really exciting for me. And I think that's what got me interested in cars, and I started to know what cars were what. I didn't have car magazines, there was no internet, so it was this thing. So every time I go for a drive, it kind of takes me back, it takes me back, and it makes you realize that, you're lucky to be driving a 911. I never take it for granted. I know there's a lot of people I talk to on this channel, and a lot of people who are trying to get their first 911, a lot of people who didn't get a 911 first, they got a Cayman, and there's nothing wrong with a Cayman. I've actually been looking at them as well. I've been looking at Boxsters actually, 2.7 litre Boxster, that's another video. But, it's a journey that we all take. I don't like using journey work too much, but it's the one that best describes it. And it's like, you have to feel that you're lucky to have this car. This car is going to last hopefully for generations to come. And it's driving the 911. It's driving the 911. And no matter what year you have, it's all that heritage behind from the 60s, from 64 upwards. It's all that heritage. It's all that history. It's all that Porsche DNA. And you really miss driving the 911. And I've said it before, and you guys that own one know, there's nothing really quite like it. Sure, you can have a base Carrera, you can have a Carrera S, you can have a GTS, you can have a GT3, you can have a GT2 RS. You can spend, this much money or this much money. But, the essence of the 911, the essence and the feeling that you get from driving it is something that you miss when, 1, you don't have a 911, 2, you have a 911 and you're away from it like me, and I guess 3, if you had a 911 and you sold it, you hear people who have had 911s, they buy a Ferrari and they come back to a Porsche. You know what I mean? So it's number 1. I think it has to be number 1. It's like your dreams of owning a 911. You go for a drive, those dreams are brought back to you. You realize how lucky you are. You realize you're in a great, great car, and you drive it, you enjoy it, and that's number 1. So, the top 5, that's it. What are your top 5? Let me know what you miss about your 911. If you're with your 911, I guess you don't miss it, but I guess if you haven't driven it for a while, during the winter when you store your car for storage, what are the things you miss? Top 3, top 5? List them in the comments. I'd be interested to know if they're similar to mine. I thought about this a bit. I actually wrote this down earlier in the week. And I just read it over before now. I do write some things down, I have a thought in my head for a video, and this came to mind, and I thought, it's something that I'm thinking about now because, as you guys know, I'm in Bahrain, in London, but I'm going back to Bahrain, working in Bahrain. So, and this is going to be a 2 to 3 year thing. So I have to really work out what I'm going to do there. I did find a 997 for sale. I found it. I did post it on my Instagram. I don't know if you guys follow me. The link's down below. But I did find a 911. It was a base Carrera. It's still available. It's white. It's got the tan interior. Push button, as a few guys told me, you can just switch the wheel over to flappy paddle. And it's about 9,000 dinar, 30 odd thousand Aussie, 34,000, 33,000 Australian dollars for a 997.2 997. So that's something, because I've been missing my car so much, that's something that I'm thinking about in Bahrain. It may not be sensible. I may need to get an SUV type car. As you know, my choices are Cayenne, Macan, and then the last one is, don't hate me, is the G-Class. So they're the ones I'm looking at. When I go back this time, hopefully I can sort it out. Still trying to be sensible, always trying to think what's the best thing. And I'm also trying to think about what's the best thing to make videos for you guys. So I'd like to have a Porsche, because then I can make videos in Bahrain. I can have the 997 in Bahrain, 997 in Sydney, and you know, but the 997 in Bahrain is a lot cheaper, just remember that. The 997.2 that I'm looking at, like I said, is about 35,000 Aussie dollars. That same car in Australia is about 110,000, so it's a big difference. So I'm considering it. Anyway, those were my top 5 reasons why I missed the 911. Like I said, let me know what yours are. That's about it for today. As I always say, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, because YouTube doesn't like me at the moment. The algorithm decides that it's all my people that, I don't think you guys even get notifications anymore. But, and if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, because I do notice that a lot of people that watch my videos aren't subscribers. It's great if you would subscribe. Anyway, it's up to you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Once again.